Now, some people say that I struggle with compromise. Obviously they're wrong. There does, however, come a time where even I have to admit defeat and make some allowances. You know, I'd be perfectly happy to commute to work in a Lotus Avaya, but then unfortunately, real life gets in the way. Which means my working mum side has to have an argument with my wannabe racing driver side. However, the team say they found the perfect car for me. Now that is more like it. Come on, Penguin. This is the new Porsche Cross Turismo. In theory, this should please all of the family and me. But before I tell you why this is the perfect family car, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and switch your notifications on so you know when our latest video has landed. Back to the Cross Turismo, which is basically a Porsche Taycan with more practicalities, which kind of justifies the price. It has a range of 258 miles, but it has a bigger boot, so plenty of space for all of life's essentials. And when I say essentials, this ain't the half of it. Now, some of you with a tape measure might point out that this is a big car, and the boot is actually only a little bit bigger than you'd get in a Volkswagen Golf. But that should be big enough, right? If you don't have a toddler, it'll fit in stuff like sports equipment and plenty of luggage. And there's another boot in the front here, so you can stash other stuff like the cables perhaps, or anything else you want to keep out of the way. Now back here, there are really lovely, comfy, big back seats. So I'd say you could sit 2 adults here very comfortably. What is quite clever is that when they designed the car, they actually built the battery around the footwell, so you have a little bit of extra space where your feet go. However, there's always a however, the middle seat. It's for very, very small people. It is pretty tiny, so there is no way you're going to get 3 adults back here, 3 kids at a squeeze. Unlike the normal Taycan, the Cross Turismo also has a slightly higher ride height, and that's meant to make it seem a bit more like an SUV. No, really, it's even got an off-road mode called gravel, which I think is probably more about getting out of a muddy field rather than attempting to cross a swamp. But it does make things like fitting car seats much easier than on other sports cars. Plus, there's loads of space in the cabin, including lots of little cubby holes for hiding important things, like biscuits. It is built beautifully. It really feels like someone took a lot of care with it. And it comes with these massive screens. This one is a 16.8-inch curved display. I mean, look at it, it's absolutely gorgeous. And it comes with all the Porsche loveliness in terms of tech, safety systems and driver aids. And that is my reminder to tell you to check out our full Taycan review if you want the complete lowdown on all of that. Now, it also shares the Taycan's 800-volt charging capability, so it's going to take on power really quickly, particularly if you're using the super fast 350 kilowatt chargers, which fortunately are actually popping up all over the place, so keep an eye out for those if you haven't seen one already. Now, that's really handy if you want to keep those long trips as short as possible, if you get what I mean. Okay, so that is kind of all the practical stuff covered. But something worth noting, when you actually get up front, well, you kind of forget all the practical stuff, to be honest, and particularly that rather big bum, because actually this is the Turbo Turismo, and quite frankly, everything is going to end up behind you anyway. Wrinkle-free with the power of acceleration. It's like an instant facelift, free of charge as well, so it's double bonus. Okay, so we're talking 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.3 seconds. Stupidly fast, really, unnecessary. A top speed of 155 miles an hour. Not needed, but it's really nice to know you have it. Now, when it comes to different drive modes, you've got normal, sport, sport plus, which is what I tend to do the school running, and the Sport Plus individual, so you can kind of tweak that to match what you're looking for. What does seem a bit crazy though is that this isn't even the fastest version. No, that's right. So this has only got 670 brake horsepower. If you really want to scare the children, then get the Turbo S version. 750 brake horsepower. Yes, although it does come with a warning, your child's breakfast might end up spread across the back seats, so I'm not taking any responsibility for that. Now, I'll be absolutely honest here, the Cross Turismo is a tiny bit softer all round than the Taycan spec for spec. It's ever so slightly less precise, but also a tad more comfortable. But you know what? That is a compromise that I am willing to get on board with. Mainly because by the time you actually notice that difference, you're going to have to be travelling at speeds that will, well, it would put you in prison anyway, so not really worth it. However, speaking of going to prison, I may end up there because I'd probably have to rob a bank to actually afford one of these. This car is £117,000, but with the options fitted to this particular model, it's £141,687. Yeah, that's a lot of options, including things like £161 for an essential ski bag, of course, and £3,100 for the wheel upgrade. But a car like this is never going to be cheap, and it's going to cost less than running a Lotus Evija, with a chauffeur following me around with all of Arthur's kit in. See, it makes perfect financial sense. But what I really do love is the fact that one morning I can be Nicki the working mum, and the next morning I can be Nicki the wannabe racing driver. So all in all, the Porsche Cross Turismo is the perfect compromise for me. Well, thank you for watching the Porsche Cross Turismo review. If you haven't subscribed already, head over to electrifying.com immediately, click that subscribe button and check the box to turn your notifications on so you know when our next video drops.